It's time again for Talking Trade, sponsored by MMAC's World Trade Association and Michael Best Strategies.
Welcome to another episode of Talking Trade. I'm Ken Wasylik, Managing Director of EM Wasylik and Associates, an international business development company.
And I'm Sandi, Siegel, President of ME Day. And it's a pleasure today to welcome our guest, Randy Romanski. Randy's the Secretary of the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection. Some of us know fondly as DATCP, located here, Wisconsin in Madison. So welcome to the show, Randy.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Happy to join you.
So I did, a little bit of my homework in preparing for the interview. And of course, I knew about World Dairy Expo that happens every year in Madison from, many of my friends and colleagues at DATCP and in the international community. But I had no idea what the draw was internationally and the size of it. And I'm really quite enamored based on the research I've done. So I'm excited to learn more. Tell us about how it, draws the community globally. How big is it? Who comes? And, what goes on during the event?
Yeah, thanks a lot. As you laid out there, it's a big deal. And we are so happy and proud to host it here in America's Dairyland. It makes a lot of sense. Wisconsin is the home for World Dairy Expo. It makes sense. Wisconsin's known globally as America's Dairyland. We'll probably get into some of those details and why. But big draw. I mean, it's estimated to be about 56,000 people in attendance, including about 3,000 international visitors from about 100 different countries. And so it's really exciting to see that. It's got so much to offer. So it's got a trade show that brings people in to talk about everything from genetics to equipment to animal health needs. One of the interesting components that's happened in recent years is an emphasis on sustainability. How do we sustainably grow the dairy industry in an international market space? And our agency, I'm going to call us DATCP from here on because you broke the seal on that. But our agency plays a strong role in that. We expect to host about 100 different international visitors here at our agency, and we do everything from seminars here at our agency to organizing farm tours to communicating with researchers at UW-Madison, Wisconsin companies, and other things too. I mean, those are all the things that Wisconsin has to offer, and that's what makes it a really great draw for people around the world.
Well, Randy, I live in Madison, and the week I'm leaving that week because I know it gets really crowded. There's traffic. You have 56,000 visitors, 3,000 from the outside the United States. So the 3,000, it's a considerable expense for these international visitors to come to Madison. And just wondering, I know that there's a lot of repeat visitors from international outside, our foreign visitors and our guests. What's the big draw? Just because it's a big, like the epicenter of dairy, or is there other aspects of the World Dairy Expo that brings that draw from those 100 countries?
Yeah, that's a great question. Dairy industry and farmers are ever evolving. I always like to say that farmers adapt. They've been adapting over time. And so technology continues to evolve. And for both US and the international visitors and exhibitors, there's always information on new products, new practices, training and development that is, if you want to get it, you need to come here to get around all those companies. I forgot to mention it on the lead in, but there's about 600 different companies from 25 or 26 different countries that are here as well. So they see that, they see this, as a great meeting space for people from the industry. And obviously, and if you've been there before, Ken, you said you leave, so you may not have seen this, but
No,
it's
I've been here for 20 years, so
okay.
I've been at the
Yeah,
show.
but seeing the show, you're seeing the greatest animals from around the world. That's fascinating. But also the trade show is that connection to new technology. The other thing, for whether you're talking about the dairy farmers themselves or people in the industry, is they get to meet with their counterparts from around the world, and they're exchanging information, they're sharing best practices, focusing on more how to generate more milk, how to be more sustainable, and those are really important factors. And I'm going to close here by also talking about how DATCP plays a role in that space. So we hold a variety of educational seminars that we sponsor with some of our partners, like U.S. Livestock Genetics Export and the World Dairy Expo. And we have one seminar that's to kind of join exporters and importers, so they understand how to find each other in the international workspace. It's international trade space, which is a great way to, I love to say, connect the dots between product, producer, and consumer. And then we're having a seminar on milk production with genetics, animal health, and nutrition. Again, a way to inform the farmer about how to increase their milk supply and make sure that they're ensuring the health of their animals. It's a great way to connect all those dots.
Yeah, you've mentioned a lot of benefits of being at the show. Networking is always a great opportunity. What is farmer? And I know farmers like to talk to farmers, right? And sharing information as well as the seminars you're talking about. What are some of the challenges that face the dairy industry today? Animal health has always been a key subject, but are there other subjects besides animal health that are challenging? And being that you have 100 visitors from 100 different countries, are the challenges the same, or are they are they different?
I'm glad you asked that question that way. One of the things that will be talked about here, and I've seen it talked about in other forums that I've attended in other states and in the international market space, and something that keeps coming up as a recurring theme is, how do we feed the growing world population a healthy, nutritious, safe product that we all need, and that's milk and dairy products. And whether we're here or whether we're talking about other markets in Southeast Asia, China, Central and South America, or Africa, we all need to work together to develop that milk supply, that great source of protein that can help feed the world. And because our population's growing, we need to work together to do that, to accomplish that. And that's why these seminars and these discussions and the face-to-face learning that you talked about, Ken, with farmers talking to farmers, is really important, because that is a shared goal. And we think about it of sharing some of the data, some of the knowledge that we have here in Wisconsin, but we're also collecting knowledge when we're there. Best practices are best practices when we all are looking for that high bar. And the end benefit is, sometimes people think, well, that means you're immediately going to export more Wisconsin products elsewhere, and that is one of the key components of this. We expose people to the genetics industry, which is a powerhouse in Wisconsin. There are many genetics companies here that are known around the world, and that will help those companies grow their dairy supply. But that's the key, is we need to help other countries develop that supply within their countries, because they can only import so much from Wisconsin and from other states around the United States. There will be some of that, and that's one of our goals here at DATCP is to increase exports of Wisconsin products, including Wisconsin dairy products. But really, the goal is feeding the world, and we do that by working together, sharing information, sharing practices, and this is a great place to do that.
Well, I've certainly come to appreciate why, in fact, it has such, a popular draw and enormously successful. So, my background is in trade compliance, and I'm curious with all the information sharing that's, regarding technology and the industry and sustainability. Do you, and you talked about connecting suppliers, importers, and exporters. Certainly in the last decade, agriculture, U.S. ag has been impacted by some of the trade tensions and relationships around the world. Is any of that addressed? I mean, that's a big topic, and it could get rather political as well. Is any of that addressed in any of the sessions that are coming up at the expo?
Yeah, there'll be conversations about that because our whether we're talking about our importer exporter seminar, that's gonna, I mean, we're talking about international markets, so tariffs and retaliatory tariffs will come up. Interestingly enough, on Friday, another one of the learning opportunities we make available is we're doing a dairy industry summit. And we have folks from around the United States and with connections globally to talk about trends, opportunities, and challenges in the global dairy industry, including market opportunities. And, one of our responsibilities is we have the International Agribusiness Center located here, and we use that really good group of professionals to help break down barriers where we can. We talked about connecting the dots, and I'm going to give an example, a couple of examples actually. Trade agreements can make a big difference. So I'm going to point to the USMCA, US Mexico Canada agreement, which has been a real plus for Wisconsin. Mexico and Canada not only are our neighbors, they're two of our major trade partners. Right. That's been good for Wisconsin agriculture and food production. It's been really good for the dairy industry. And I've got numbers. I love numbers. I'm not going to throw them at you.
No, and I recognize, it certainly opened the barriers to on some of the milk and the thresholds for dairy. Yeah, absolutely.
And then one other recent one that I'll talk about it, and this is emphasizing the great benefit of free trade opportunities. I firmly believe that given an opportunity, Wisconsin farm, food, ag products will compete anywhere in the world based on quality. And so having free opportunities to promote those products is great. And I bring that up because we recently had a trade mission. The Department of Ag, Trade, and Consumer Protection recently had a trade mission to Chile with several businesses and individuals from Wisconsin. It was really well timed because Chile is a country that we have good trade relationships with. They have pretty open borders with when it comes to trade, but there were some instances where European producers were trying to have some restrictions on the use of common names for things like meats and cheeses. Well, certain kinds of cheese are made around the world. They're not made in just one part of the world. Yep. And what I would say is Wisconsin makes 600 different types, styles, and varieties of cheeses. If you like it, we make it here. And so it was really well timed that we were in Chile for that trade mission. We worked with the ambassador there, Bernadette Meehan, who was just a fantastic resource and a very passionate advocate for open trade, and the USDA Foreign Ag Service. They set up meetings with us and some folks from our delegation, and we had government meetings, industry meetings, just to talk about how valuable it is to have open trade opportunities. And there were a lot of people who were contributing to that conversation. It was fortunate that we were able to be there at that time, fortunate that we were able to work with the ambassador's office. but U.S. dairy export, it was part of it. The dairy groups internationally have been talking about this, and there was a side letter signed between the United States and Chile, ratified by the Chilean government, that maintains that free and open trade opportunity for cheese and meat products without being excluded based off of name. And I think that's one of those things we can point to and say, there's a success.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
and I appreciate while there are both challenges and, wins, and, I certainly am pro trade. I appreciate you focusing on the wins, because there have been many, particularly for dairy. So that's great to hear those stories. Randy, I'm afraid we've run out of time. Very, very exciting. I may just have to show up at the Dairy Expo, because really interesting things to hear about. Good luck on the expo, and thank you for joining us on another episode of Talking Trade.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Great to have you.
You've been listening to Talking Trade, sponsored by MMAC's World Trade Association and Michael Best Strategies.